for 3 right, you're right to start coming back. Yeah, right, good, coming back.
Well everyone, guess who's back with yet another parcel from Auscision. Of course, I can't help myself, can't I? But we'll get off with the intro. So, hello everyone, my name is Jai and welcome back to another model railway review. And this one is going to be a bit of an interesting one, as you would have known that Auscision did a little secret release a couple of weeks ago of a new locomotive that was not announced. I know when it released, I've heard a few people that have had a few mixed opinions about it. Some people like it, some people hate it. Me personally, I don't mind it. Sure, I would have liked if it was a B class or something like that, but of course I'm still happy with what the release was. But for those of you that don't know what it is, the locomotive in question is a SDA1 locomotive. I'll get into more information fairly soon. I want to go ahead now and do, of course, what everyone wants me to do, which is unpack the bloody thing. So we're going to get this out of the box by pulling this. The whole thing all up at once. Something I will admit that I'm a little bit surprised is, considering the locos that are in here are quite expensive, so it's a little bit surprising how Auscision have added them in this type of packaging out of order. And here we go. Oh dear, we've got a bit of a mess here. Alright, so I did end up getting a couple extra little things. So we've got some metal container type of things. Not sure what you call them, but they're not our main interest. Let's put them over there. And it looks like that we have, we've got a little bit of interesting stuff in here too. Okay, what is this? Alright, so, okay, this is something to do with trains. We've also got some little pamphlets for upcoming models, I'm assuming. So, or models that are already released. Ah yes, the 48s. Ah yes, we've got some ANs. A classes, I'm pretty sure those are going to be fairly popular. And just a whole bunch of literally just other stuff. So there's like 500,000 pages here. Alright, here they are on the desk. Before I do go ahead and take a look inside the model, I want to quickly show you the box design work. So, like I mentioned before, these are the SDA1 locomotives. And something else that you can probably tell is I did end up getting both of these in SCT livery. Now you can get a few other versions. You can get a version in cube. You can also get a SBR type of livery and a blue one. I can't remember what the name of that one is. And about 3 different SCT versions. Those are about all different liveries you can get. So I've got 2 out of the 3 SCT liveries. I've got both of the older type, not the newer greyish silver type. Now I have heard quite a few good things about these models. I have heard that these things are apparently really good pullers, and these models are also very, very heavy. And I can tell you this, just by feeling this box, they're definitely not wrong. This thing does weigh quite a lot, which is really good for pretty much any model that needs to carry it along freight trains. And also, Auscision have actually added in some capacitors in these models, which means that they've actually got a keep alive in them. So that should mean that you don't have any problems on filthy dirty track as much, and your model should be able to go through points that might cause little cutouts or anything like that. So I think that's a really cool design actually. I'm not sure if you can get them in DC variants. I think you can only get the keep alive system in the DCC version, so that's the only thing that's a little bit sucky, but I mean, that's what it is. And something else that Auscision did mention is these DCC versions cannot run on DC. So for those of you that like to run DCC trains on DC track, unfortunately you can't do it with these. But I mean, if you are getting these DCC, most people obviously get them to run on DCC anyway, so that shouldn't really be a big deal. But I think that's enough chit chat. We'll go ahead now and unbox these models and we'll get a better look inside. So the first locomotive that we'll take a look at is CSR 005 in SCT V1 red, white and black livery. Right, so we do have, of course, a normal warning thing for DCC versions of these models, but that's pretty standard. However, this particular note is something to pay close attention to. So this is actually fairly important. It is something that you are going to want to take the time to take a look at and read, because this can potentially have certain consequences if you do not follow these instructions correctly. Basically, it's telling you before you do reprogram your model, you have to take the body off of the loco and turn off a S1 switch to turn off the capacitors, so that way you can then reprogram your model. It says that it can cause damage to the chip. Considering how expensive these models have gone up, you do not probably want to really risk blowing up or damaging your chip. So make sure you do take a look at these instructions before you do reprogram your model. Now, as far as instructions, I know you guys aren't really too far with instructions, so I'll try to be a little bit quick. Of course, we do have our model features, but I couldn't be bothered to read them all out, so pause them if you want to take a look. Of course, you just got the typical blah blah blahness. On the other side though, I've got to pay more close attention, as we do have the DCC functions on this one. So there's a small glimpse of all the DCC functions. It does seem to go all the way up to 31, which it looks like most of them are in use, if not all of them, it looks like. And here is the other side, so you can see. Alright, most boring part out the way. We'll get to the loco, and one thing I want to mention is this reminds me a lot of the on-track models packaging for the 82 class. Is it just me? I think it does. Well, here it is. Bit of an odd way it's been packaged. But here it is. And yeah, these ones are a lot longer than what I would have expected. So here it is, CSR 005. And yeah, definitely looking pretty good. And of course under here. But no, honestly, this model does look really, really nice. I do really quite like it. And of course we've got the drivers in there, which does look pretty nice. Bit too dark to see though. But yeah, overall, not looking too bad. So we'll go ahead now and take a look at the other CSR one. See what that one's like. So the second one we have is CSR 0012, which is also in the SCT red, white and black scheme. Something that you might be able to tell is the slight different sizes of the SCT logo, at least on the side. These models are very similar, but they also have some very slight differences. Take this hand, and once again folks, these are really heavy. This model is really, really heavy, honestly. Okay. Ugh. My god, it's heavy. But yeah, it's very similar to the other one. Like I said, the only main difference is the SCT on the side. And number is a slight bit more thicker paint than the other one. So this one is CSR 12. Pretty sure I didn't mention that though. Of course we're at the bottom. And let's see, no, that's the wrong way. Here are the drivers again. And then the top, which yeah, those look very nice. So I have to say everyone, I'm definitely quite impressed with the amount of detail and weight, again, of these models. These just weigh an absolute ton. So I'm really happy about that. But of course, next up, I will now go ahead and test up a small DCC track and we'll go ahead and see what some of the sounds are like. Alright, so the first one we'll test out is CSR 005. So let me get my instructions here. So our first function is number 0, which is headlight. Number 1 is the 2 ditch lights. Number 2 is air horn. That's pretty cool. 3 is driver hold, so we won't worry about that. Number 4, dynamic brakes, you can hear that later. 5 is locomotive brake full, again we don't need that. Number 6 is country air horn. Okay, cool, so this loco's got 2 different horns in. Number 7 is front end marker lights, of course, so there you go, and then you press number 7 again for the markers, so on and so forth. So we'll keep them on for now. And number 8 is, of course, prime mover. Ah yes, just sounds exactly like the cheap Chinese ones they are. Alright, so with all the sounds on, all the lights on, we'll go ahead and start moving her, see how she works. Alright, so far so good. So we'll go ahead and turn the sound off, see what the shutdown is like. Now, the last thing I want to quickly show you is the keep alive. So, you see the lights on? Let me go ahead and take it off the track. So yeah, as you just saw, the keep alive is working. I also tested with the other loco and that's working with it too. So in other words, the keep alive is already on when you do get these models out of the box. Positive things I can say, yes, I really am quite happy that these have got keep alive systems. It means that you can, again, get through dead spots or bits of dirty track, hopefully. It doesn't last for too long, but it hopefully should just last long enough for you to get through any annoying little short out areas or anything like that. Now, of course, I'll go ahead and take these models to the Locomotives Club, where this will definitely test its ultimate challenge, as we do have some pretty steep grades at the CMRC. So with that, let's go ahead to the Locomotives Club and see how these locos perform.
Points are set. Right to keep coming back. Okay, coming back. right.
one on Kelly, SVP.
set for 3 road. You're right to start coming back. Over that road 2, coming back.
Well everyone, it's now time to talk about my final thoughts and conclusions of these models. So overall, are they good, are they bad, or are they in between? Well, I can definitely say I've got a few nitpicks here and there, but I do have to say mostly positive things, so of course that's always a good thing. Before I do start though, as you probably have already noticed, I did end up buying a third one in SBR. Of course, I couldn't resist getting two SCT and not an SBR one. I just had to get one also in that livery, and I'm very happy I did. So, got a nice little way to end the small CSR collection. Yeah, I have to say that there's a lot of improvements with these models compared to their previous releases. So, one improvement that I am pretty sure everyone will definitely notice, especially when they unbox these, is just the amount of weight that is in these models. Now these things are definitely quite heavy. They're about 760 grams around that each, so that is around like 200 grams more than say one of their previous releases being the CLFs and CLPs. Now don't get me wrong, these things are fairly heavy, but compared to one of these actually honestly feel a bit lightweight. So as far as the weight is concerned, it's a really good step up from Auscision. I am really quite impressed with the amount of weight, especially considering that they are freight locos, so obviously for a freight train you do want to have a lot of weight. So overall, good on for Auscision, making these locos very, very heavy, and I'm pretty sure everyone who has bought this has definitely noticed the weight of these. Something else that has also been improved is the pulling power, and this can also be helped again with the weight. But I do have a video clip here to show you of one of my CSRs pulling a very, very long freight train, and some of them were filled with some heavy items, and a few of the wagons also have plastic wheels, which does leave a bit of drag. But I did test this loco on the steepest grade at the club, and as you can see, this loco pretty much goes up this grade with no problems whatsoever. Now, may I remind you that a lot of my other locos, when they are just single, can't even haul a quarter of what this train was carrying up that hill. So it does show that these models are definitely very, very powerful, just as single locos, let alone having two or more hooked up together. So weight and strength is definitely very, very good on these models. Also, another really good upgrade that Auscision have done with these new tooled models is the fact that we actually do have keeper lives in these models. These are only just for the DCC variants. The DC ones will not have the keep alive system working. I really think it's a great idea that Auscision have come up with, because usually you only see the keep alives in smaller locos like a W class or a Derm or something like that. But I honestly don't think it's a really bad idea to have keep lives in mainline locos either, especially if you got certain sections of track that can give you problems. These keep alives do last for a fair while, around 4 to 5 seconds, so should be more than enough time to go through some of those little dead spots on the track or points or anything like that. Now, as far as the build quality, what else can I say apart from the fact that, well, of course it's perfect for Auscision. Something that's actually really cool that I only just found out is you can actually fill around with these little mirrors on all 4 sides of the model on the cab. Obviously you got to be a little bit careful, and as well as that, you of course have the standard perfection of all the separately fitted detail parts, metal edge grills. The cab interiors look fantastic, all the paintwork on the locos looks nice and crisp. Overall, yeah, very, very well put together, and some really cool little things you can fill around with. Now, the last positive thing I want to talk about is the DCC sounds and some of the functions of these models. The sound of the models is, of course, very good. I would say, in a way, they have been slightly upgraded from previous releases. I find it really cool that we have a couple different horn variants. As well as that, we do have a lot of very nice braking sounds, coupling sounds. The diamond braking sound is also really good. The engine throttle sounds are really good. And something that was also a pretty cool new feature was the radio chatters. which I don't think has been applied to any previous Auscision model from now. So overall, I did really quite like some of the radio chatters, and you probably did hear some of those examples on the running part of this video. I would say for the most part, these locos are very, very good. They've got a lot of good detail, they've got great sound, they've got a lot of good weight on them, and they're also a very powerful model. So I would definitely still say I'll recommend these models for the most part, and I do hope starting from now, if Auscision want to make more models like these, I'm definitely here for it, especially with the keep alive systems, because I really think it'd be a great idea to have every single model from now on to have a keep alive, even if it's mainline like these ones. I think it will just help, and I'm pretty sure a few people can agree with me. But overall, those are all my positives. Now I'll go ahead and talk about the few little negatives I have, and trust me, one is going to be a little bit more harsh than the first one. So the first one I'll talk about, which isn't as harsh, is just the fact that for some reason with my two SCT CSRs, I'm not sure why, but you might have noticed it also in a few shots of the running part of this video. It's the fact that for some reason on the slower speeds, these locos seem to jerk around a little bit, and I honestly can't understand why. I guess I might have just gotten them faulty, unfortunately. I do seem to sometimes get faulty models quite often, which is a little bit annoying, but the SBR one doesn't have any of those problems. It runs smooth even on the lower speeds. So I'm not exactly sure why my two SCT ones jerk around on the slower speeds. It is a little bit annoying, but they do seem to work fairly well on the higher speeds. Don't have any problems with the models then. So to me, it's not the end of the world or any big deal, because once again, these are mainline locos, so you'd rarely use them for shunting anyway. The next one I have is actually about Auscision. I just want to make things clear. This is something that I have heard, but on here they've said before you do reprogram your model, whether it be to reset it or program it to a different number, off from number 3, they do actually say that you need to take the body off of your model and turn off a S1 switch, which turns the capacitors off, so then that way you can reprogram your model. They did say you have to do that or else it could cause damage to the chip, which, if that's the case, that's the case. So, but here's the thing. Someone that I know, I'm not going to mention his name because I want him to stay anonymous, but him and I were chatting a bit on Facebook, and he wanted to figure out something about if there, how to reprogram the models, or if there was another way to do it without having to take the body off. So he did message Auscision, and they told him, you can actually do it without taking the body off by doing it on the main, on the DCC controller. But he told me that apparently Auscision told him that if you were to take the body off of these models, the warranty actually doesn't apply on the model anymore. So technically that means you lose the warranty of your model if you take the body off. Now here's where I get a little bit puzzled and just a little bit odd with Auscision. So they're basically saying that, they're telling you to take the body off to, be able to reprogram the models, stuff like that. But yet if you do what the instructions say, you apparently lose the warranty of the model if you fiddle around and take the body off. So yeah, I'm not sure how that does make sense. Yeah, to me that's a little bit odd from Auscision's part, if that is the case. I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous as well, I would even say. Because you told them to do that, and yet if you do it, oh, by the way, you lose the warranty of your model. But like I said, I'm just saying what I have been heard. But overall, everyone, that is going to be my review for the CSRs. Overall, I hope that, of course, you guys did enjoy this video. And once again, I would say to Auscision that I really do want you guys to keep up with the good work, and hopefully we will actually see more models like this where they have a keep alive. They're a lot more heavy, like these ones, and also some more sound functions and all that, especially with the radio chatters and stuff like that. I'm really quite looking forward to some of the newer releases that are coming out soon. Now, if you are interested in wanting to get one of these models, I have some good news for you, as the majority of them still seem to be in stock currently at the moment. Now, all but one, that being CSR 14 in SCT, has sold out with the DCC variant. However, now, the last time I've checked, Trainworld still does have SCT 14 in DCC Sound. So if you want to get that version, I'll get it fast before it does sell out. But with that all being said, everyone, thanks for watching, and I of course hope to see you next time. Bye bye.